I mentioned the heavy and uneven call volume. It would, the first 2 days of the week, we would have much heavier calls than later in the week, and therefore we would have big backlogs of messages that needed to be returned, and it made it really challenging to return messages within 24 hours with that situation. We still get more messages on Mondays and Tuesdays than we do the rest of the week, but because they've dropped by 50%, we're much more able to get responses back within the 24 hours that we hold as our standard. This also leads to less distractions for the clinic staff on site. They are not, for example, with Spanish messages, we have one Spanish-speaking call center person, but because Zoe is able to speak in Spanish, messages that are left in Spanish don't, some of them get resolved and the others get transferred to the clinic staff that speak Spanish, instead of all of our calls in Spanish being handled as messages and somebody in the clinic having to return them either at the front desk or a member of the clinical staff. So as a result, the clinical and front desk staff are able to more effectively focus on the people that are physically here in the clinic right in front of them. And that, provides them with better service rather than them experiencing a staff member holding a phone and saying, can you wait for a minute while I finish this phone call? We have a fairly heavy demand of Spanish and Russian calls. And so because 40% of our patient base is Spanish speaking primary, and another 10% are Armenian/Russian, and we're now able to handle their non-appointment related questions with Zoe, and also Zoe is able to transfer them to the correct person if they need to speak Spanish or Armenian Russian. We have many fewer complaints about unreturned messages. That was probably the biggest thing that I was hearing from patients coming into the office, and that has dropped off significantly. And then 60% of the voicemails we knew were regarding frequently asked questions and appointment details. And so we were taking staff time away from people in the office in order to call people back just to tell them when their appointment was. Next.